Jim, you get the floor.
Sounds like you're struggling with it.
Yes, I'm somewhere between Mr. Haney and Elmer Fudd.
Well, first I want to thank you all for letting me come talk a little bit. What I wanted to talk to you all about was the security issues out at the Justice Center.
Right.
I obviously tried to stay out of this, letting you all make those decisions with the sheriff and that sort of thing. But I'm here today talking as a private individual. I'm not talking on behalf of any of the judges out there. Judge Burkemper is aware I was speaking here today. Judge Dildine, I let him know that as well. Actually, I tried to, but he wasn't in. So just want to let you know that I'm speaking on behalf of me, not on behalf of the other judges in the state. But I do have some concerns that I wanted to address that I'm not sure have been addressed, and if so, I'm not aware of those issues. As you know, currently the sheriff provides the security out there, and I think the issue is down to whether the sheriff continues to provide security or whether a private security company is hired to do that. It's my understanding that there's the commission may be voting on whether to give a contract to a private security company. I believe tomorrow, if
That's correct.
understanding is correct. So what I wanted to do is just let you know what my concerns are with the sheriff not being in charge of security out there. And the issues may or may not be able to be addressed with the security company. I just don't know that. As you know, right now, the security is handled by the deputies, with the bailiffs providing some of the security when they're not on call or in a courtroom, and at least one sheriff deputy at the door, and the other 3 bailiffs being available as needed or as they're not involved in courtroom security itself, in the actual physical courtrooms. But one of the things I think that the sheriff's deputies are able to do that I'm not sure the private security guards can do, which is what I wanted to address, is, for example, oftentimes the sheriff's deputies, when they parties are coming in, whether they be criminal defendants or civil litigants, is to be able, oftentimes be able to recognize and note that certain people may have outstanding warrants and be able to arrest those people on the spot and take them into custody with outstanding warrants. They also may be able to recognize people that may be dangerous at times. But again, they have the ability to arrest someone if an issue arises or if a person has an outstanding warrant. In addition, if there's an altercation outside the building, I'm not sure what the private security company, what their role or what their ability is to go exit the building and to address issues that are going on outside of the building, out in the parking lot, or with that regard. In addition, whether they'd have the right to even detain someone for questioning if they are causing a disturbance, especially if it's outside the building. I know oftentimes the deputies are able to do things such as make sure that if they see someone that doesn't have a driver's license or driving into the Justice Center, they have the ability to stop and question that or to arrest someone on those types of situations. Or if they see someone damaging property out there, they have the ability to immediately respond to it. Whereas with a private security company, my understanding is that they would not have that ability. They'd have to contact 911, and at this point, Troy Police would have the authority to, or be the first responders on that. And I think even a best case scenario, it's going to take them 3 to 5 minutes to respond to something like that, just given where their location may be. But I also want to give you an example as to the realistic concerns that I would have that I think are very real concerns and have happened at other courthouses. Fortunately, we have not had these issues at our Justice Center, but we know many that have. To give you an example, on a Friday afternoon, under the scenario that I'm understanding that may be happening is that there'll be 2 private security guards on duty. If there's no court going on, which is fairly frequent on a Friday afternoon, is that the other bailiffs then will be out doing their secondary jobs as would be appropriate under that scenario. If someone comes in to file an order of protection and their abuser follows them into the courtroom or into the Justice Center, starts calling an altercation, what can the private security guys do without exposing liability to the county? The question is, can they tackle the guy? Can they use physical force? Can they put handcuffs on him? Can they use a taser? Are they going to be able to use a taser? Are they going to be armed? Can they detain them? If so, how long? And under what circumstances? Can they actually handcuff them and forcibly keep them there? Or is it just a matter of saying, will you please stay here until police arrive? And again, they can obviously call 911, and again, as I indicated, I think best case scenario, Troy Police Department had 3 to 5 minutes to arrive, and while it may sound like a fairly short time period, that's for them just to get onto the scene, then they have to try to defuse it, figure out what's going on, figure out who's at fault, and do a lot of things in a very short amount of time. And while it seems like a short time, 3 to 5 minutes under those scenarios I think can be a very lengthy amount of time. What about the Sheriff's Department next door? Obviously they could respond as well, but my understanding they have 4 road officers typically that are out on patrol the entire county, and if they're not available and the detective's not working the case, who's left to come to assistance of the employees of the Justice Center or the victims of that domestic violence? Again, I realize this may be painting a picture no one wants to think about, but unfortunately we've seen it happen in different Justice Centers and different courthouses across the state. I don't know, I guess my big concern is I've not been told what a private security company and security guard has the authority to do, to not do, and I just think there's a lot of questions out there that we don't know about. And as an employee out at the Justice Center, it's concerning to me to not know what's going on, to not know what the ins and outs of what a private security company does. It's my understanding there are security guards at other Justice Centers, other courthouses. I believe one of them was in Franklin County, which is, I believe, one of the companies that is considering giving a bid. But it's my understanding one of the differences there is that the bailiffs there are full-time bailiffs, meaning that they are there on site for the full time period of the shift. In our scenario, it's my understanding that the bailiffs will be doing secondary jobs to help cover other things that may be happening or maybe need to go on. So I guess what I'd be asking at the very least is that you all as the commissioners to come to the Justice Center, meet with all the judges, the clerks, the prosecutors, and if we can have a better explanation of how the security guards will work, what their duties may be, and then get the feedback from those of us who are affected by the change in the security, I would certainly appreciate that. I realize we're on a little bit of a time crunch. I understand that things have happened fast, that things have maybe out of a lot of people's control, have pushed this kind of to the forefront, and unfortunately making a decision, I realize making a decision, need to make a quick decision is something they need to do very quickly because of these circumstances. But I'll leave it at that for now, but again, I wanted to express my concerns. Judge Burkett wanted to be here. I won't speak for him, but he wanted to be here and speak as well, but obviously his docket wouldn't allow him to do that. So anyway, I'll leave it at that unless you all have any questions for me personally or feedback.
Okay, we can address this a number of ways. We can make the meeting happen tomorrow. We will award a contract, I hope, tomorrow at 9 a.m. We have some other things on the agenda, but we will make that happen. But let me just address what you said first of all by saying this. There is no alternative in which the sheriff can provide security once he says he will not, because there is no mechanism for me to give him additional money. In order to open the budget up and give him expanded budget, there has to be a situation where there is additional income, and there is no additional income situation here. So even if we said yes, ideally, and yes, it would be ideal that the sheriff's personnel would provide that, but even if that was the consensus around, there is no mechanism to open the budget back up and add to his budget because there is no additional income. So the situation with the personal or the private security company is essentially our only option. We have no way to fund or to make someone else's budget bigger at this point unless there is additional income. Now, I knew you had questions, so we have not made a selection, but the let's say the best presentation that we've had so far has been from Custom Security, which provides the security in Franklin County, and Mr. Dave Dickhouse of that company has graciously agreed, even though he does not have the contract. Dave, if you would come up, we'll give you the podium, and we will kind of go through your questions to try to address them, Jim, one at a time. Now, before we get to you, Dave, I will say this. Yeah, we're going to have people that don't know who has warrants and don't have things like that, but that's the situation we're presented with. Ultimately, I think that we have hopes to have some local people hired out here, but one of the positive things about Custom Security's proposal is that Mr. Dickhouse is going to be on site himself until we get the situation going the way we want it to happen. But yes, we can organize a meeting for tomorrow. You know, it's something that has to take place. The involved parties, hey, this is what we need you to do. But as far as at this late juncture, can we come up with the extra $50,000? There's no mechanism for that because we do not have additional income. We can't open the budget up unless there's additional income. So we're kind of painted in the corner that we're in right now. And as far as, you know, the questions about the private security company, these are a lot of the questions that I didn't know a thing about private security companies until I got involved with this. But Dave, if you want to take the podium, and I guess some questions that I think we need you to, from your experience in Franklin County, first of all, your people are not commissioned by the Franklin County Sheriff, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Not much, you know, we cannot really hold you accountable for the fact that you don't know who the Lincoln County criminals are, so I'm going to jump over that one. But the altercation outside the building, detained for questioning, damage to property outside the building, abuser follows a person filing order of protection. You know, explain how you explained that to me when I asked you about it.
My understanding is, and if any of you guys can clarify this in the state of Missouri, you're doing better than most people. There is nothing that really clarifies exactly what a security officer can do in the state of Missouri. As much as I can get out of everyone I've ever asked, Attorney General included, if you're hired as a security officer on a premises to provide security for that particular premises, like the Judicial Center, that's the only place we have authority on that property, okay? The authority we have, we can detain for crimes. If someone's physically abusing someone, we can intervene, we can stop, we can use whatever force we need to do to keep that from happening. We can stop a person, detain them until the police officers, until the sheriff's department, whoever has the jurisdiction over that property arrives, should they be damaging the property. We are, same as the police officers, you know, you have the force continuum levels. Obviously you can't go out with a gun in your hand shooting people for nothing. I mean, you're going to have to talk to them, you're going to use the force continuum that you would use as a police officer. But the basic answer is we have the right to do whatever is needed to protect the people of that property and the property. So
when you say detain, how are you able to detain?
Okay.
That's my question. I mean, I know maybe not from statute perspective, but as far as
if it's a detention, you've got a domestic out in front of the building and they're going to blows, whatever, and we can separate them, and that's all we got to do until the police can get there, 3 to 5 minutes, whatever, that's great. But if you've got one that's just going to continue to fight, we can put them in handcuffs, okay? And I know the detention laws are they're right on there, so we've got to really watch what we do. All of our people are, my employees are either ex-police officers, retired police officers. I have some gentlemen that came from the Missouri Prison Correction Centers in Pacific. I have some that they're fresh out of the academy. So we're not all commissioned. I no longer carry a commission myself because I've gotten out of police work and gotten into security. My training was through the Missouri State Highway Patrol Academy.